Gentlemen, hopefully we are live on YouTube. What is up? Good afternoon and, well, good evening actually. It's 5 o'clock. It's evening here in the UK. Imagine it's probably morning in the majority of America, but somewhere it is afternoon. But anyway, what is up and welcome to today's live stream. So essentially, kind of to start this off, I spent this morning having quite a bit of a chat with so many different people on kind of my thoughts and opinions on current champions. Because I've spent a lot of time reviewing like the power level and where I perceive certain champions to be at, and I've done quite a big update to my Marvel Contest of Champions tier list today. So I guess one of the things to initially note is that I've only updated the offense in terms of the Alliance War defense. I think I need to make this a little bit bigger. But essentially it's, do not rank up any defenders. Alliance War is a broken shit show right now, lads. That is my advice on the ranking up defenders at the moment. Let's see. Okay, maybe I need to make that a little smaller. Oh, man, it's just not going to fit on one page, is it? Maybe I need to give it another line, right? Another line? Wrap the text. Where's wrap text? It's here, right? It's here. Okay, that did not help. I think I merged the cells. Oh, I need to take it back. Okay, I'll take it back. Let's unmerge those cells. Let's merge these 5 together. Okay, fantastic. There we go. We got it sorted. Hey, what is up, Rip93 Ford? Thank you very much for the super chat today, man. I hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for swinging by. Yo, Lord, it's going good. It's going good. So yeah, essentially what I'm looking for on this stream, is a little bit of additional perspective, because I'm not really gonna go everything in a huge amount of detail, but a link to the tier list is in the description of the live stream. So what I'm trying to do is encourage as many of you that are fairly savvy in the endgame of Marvel Contest of Champions to have a bit of a look at my tier list in terms of the offense tab, because the defense tab is really relevant at the moment, and then put forward some decent ideas and reasoning of why, you know, champions should either be shifted up or down a tier. Like, that's kind of what I'm looking for from today's live stream. Hopefully it can be fairly constructive. Hopefully we can achieve a bit more of a refined tier list and kind of maybe go over anything that I might have missed or may not have taken into consideration, because at the end of the day I'm one man. I'm only human after all, so you know, I can appreciate some more. Have I milked the whales today, boy? Every day of my life, man. That's what it's about. How's 5.3 going? I haven't actually even started 100% on it yet. I don't know. I feel like I might go for it either. I don't know. It's probably going to be sometime next week. I've been working on quite a few things today, which I got one very, very exciting video coming out like shortly after this live stream. The reason I was meant to go live at 5, but I got so caught up making this video that yeah, I had to delay the live stream by about 15 minutes. But I've already got it all recorded, so it's good. Savvy in the end game, like that guy Juice Wolf, like that guy Ham. Really, that's what I'm looking for, man. Cat World War II needs to be moved up to God tier for the pure blocking. See, we actually had a little bit of a discussion about this on Twitter this morning, and I don't believe Cat World War II like belongs in the God tier anymore, because I don't believe there are really any scenarios or matchups, that there aren't enough scenarios or matchups where he really, really excels. And like, even jumping into 5.3 and doing some testing, man, he's still taking like 500 damage on blocked hits. And if we're looking at, you know, matchups like, I think that's also one of the things I'm looking at. You know, if you want a champion to be moved up a tier, you need to give me some practical examples of matchups where he greatly excels over other characters. Especially if we're talking about like Alliance Quest. You know, in terms of Dormammu killing, I would easily argue that Hulk and Yellow Jacket are considerably more effective Dormammu killers than Captain America World War II. Because Dormammu is pretty easy once you get into the strategy of kind of bait the special one. And then when we move into, like, Alliance War, like Captain America against Dormammu and Magic mainly, just takes so much damage. He just gets absolutely wrecked. If you're fighting a 5/5 Mystic Dispersion Dormammu or a Magic, like, you're not going to have a great time with Captain America. There are much more superior champions. Like, Magic is a great matchup to Magic and also, what is it, Dormammu in a lot of cases. But also, Well, who's pretty good against magic? Like, Archangel's pretty sick. Like, Gwenpool, if you've got Awaken. Like, she works relatively well against magic. Doc Ock as well. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really on the Cap hype train. I think the value of Captain America World War II, Quake, and that classic Cap has gone down considerably, and I've yet to read a compelling enough argument as to why they should be increased. Yeah, Cap World War II also has he has alright damage output, but it's nothing amazing. It's very good when you can bleed the opponent and have deep wounds. What's that? Hulk would be great against the Collector, Dorm killing. Yeah, I really do rate Hulk, but simultaneously, I don't think he has quite enough to get him into the God tier. Like, his damage output is good, but it's nothing absurd. I really like his poison immunity. I really like his stun. I think he's very well placed in the demigod tier. I don't really see kind of a compelling enough argument to move him up to God tier, but I do really rate Hulk. Like, any character that's really above the demigod and God tier, like, I do hold in very, very high regard. Matric is good, just godly in both attack, alliance, war, defense, so bring her to God tier. It's not a very good argument, is it? I mean, Matric has really good power control mechanics, and she's great for those matchups. But if you can't heavily utilize the power control, and if that's not something of a necessity, then there are better options to play, in my opinion. So that would be my counter argument to that. Where's Yondu? Yondu is... Oh, that's an interesting one. Did I forget to add Yondu in? So I'm debating whether or not Yondu is amazing or demigod tier. I haven't really seen enough like 550 Yondu gameplay. I think for now I'm probably going to place him in the amazing tier, because I've yet to see anything like Quake, because I really like Yondu. He's a very cool character. I really rate his heal block and also the ability to reduce the opponent's power gain per stack of bleed. And the block penetration is nice. But it's just, I guess, between like Yondu and Vision and Doc Ock. Like, I would hold Vision and Doc Ock in higher regard than a Yondu. But I really like Yondu. Like, he's a character that I definitely could appreciate as well. How is Moon Knight? I've got Moon Knight. I believe he's listed on my amazing tier. Like, Moon Knight's a pretty solid champion, really decent damage output, has his stun. He's got some good stuff going on. I don't know why I've got him rely on being awakened, though. He doesn't need to be awakened, but it's a nice to have, so that's good. Have I added Medusa and Kingpin yet, Seatin? Yeah, so I've added Medusa into the demigod tier, because I think she has very similar damage output to Angela, but with Medusa, she can excel Angela's damage output if she's in the right scenarios where she has, you know, the full Inhumans team synergy. But even without that, I think she's maybe a little bit behind Angela. But she also has the poison immunity, which, you know, is a nice bit of utility in the auto block. So she's got a bit going on. I think there are definitely Medusa and Angela coming at 2 and 3 in terms of, you know, my overall cosmic ranking, with 4 and Drax being probably tied for, rank 4 and rank 5. So yeah, a bit of an interesting one there. So is the Witch back on top tier? I think the thing is about Scarlet Witch, while I don't believe she's an incredibly reliable champion for any specific bit of utility, she's still really hard hitting, and she still nullifies like the absolute crap out of everything, which is really good when you're up against various spiked armor chapters. And sometimes you can have matches with Scarlet Witch where you just get an insane amount of regeneration or insane amount of fury. So yeah, I think Scarlet Witch is one of those champions that if, for example, like a newer player picked up, and this, you know, this tier list, to a lot of the veteran players, we know that champion rankings aren't as simple as just kind of looking at a tier list and seeing, you know, who's good and who's not. But in terms of like a new player, you know, the aim of the tier list has always been for kind of those newer and progressing players to just have a glance at, to see which champions they could acquire or rank up that would really make kind of a big difference to their roster and progression. So that's it. You don't feel that Black Widow is in a demigod tier now. She just doesn't have the usefulness, and her attack is not as good as Elektra. I would move her down. Black Widow's a bit of an interesting one, Black Widow. I think Black Widow is very debatable, because Black Widow is a character that I personally value a lot less than Crossbones and Elektra, but simultaneously I can appreciate the matchups and scenarios. For example, like debuff immune nodes in competitive aspects where she could excel, where she excels over Crossbones. So yeah, I don't know. I think Black Widow, she's borderline like amazing demigod tier, I think. I think she's right in the middle. But I think I'm going to leave her a demigod tier for now. I think, you know, she's a champion that if somebody progressing could get awakened and up to a decent signature level, you know, she's very useful for a lot of aspects of the game. So yeah, I don't know, you know, personally, I do value Elektra more and Gwenpool even more than Black Widow, but I'm going to keep her there for now. I put X-23 and Ghostrider up. It's a bit of an interesting one, because I do think, like, X-23 and Ghostrider, you know, they're comparatively quite a bit better than Black Widow, but I don't think they're, are they enough to make demigod tier? I guess the main differentiator is because I guess Wolverine and X-23 aren't that far apart. X-23 deals substantially more damage, and Wolverine has more regeneration, but I've already got kind of 3 mutant characters up there. And I guess this is kind of my perspective, that I value Wolverine X-23 a tier below Wolverine, Archangel, and Iceman, because those characters each have such kind of game-changing sets of utility that, you know, I believe they are the 3 mutant characters to kind of prioritize in terms of the rank up. But Wolverine, oh man, she's very, very close to getting into demigod tier. It's really difficult, because, you know, if I had to split out... There are a lot of champions that kind of overlap tiers when you think about them in a lot of detail. But it's difficult, because I don't want to make this tier system, like, too overly complex and have, like, you know, break out to, like, 10 to 20 different tier ratings. But, I don't know, maybe that's the way it should be. But again, you know, you just have to bear in mind that the fundamental of this tier list is not to completely define every character in every scenario. It's just to give kind of newer and progressing players a very rough idea of how characters kind of rank and the comparative value that they bring to the table. So yeah, what's that? Storm hits hard. Storm has nothing else going for her and is terrible on defense. Storm should not be in the demigod tier. Strange is obviously nerfed, but should be in demigod. So, I think my argument with Storm is Storm hits really hard, and the stun is incredibly, incredibly valuable. And stun is something that I've learned with shorter combos to utilize to such great potential now. So yeah, I really, really value... I value stun so much more than I do, because especially with Storm stun, because it's such a long stun, you can get in, usually, like, you know, if you've got the increased stun duration, like a full round of combo on the special 2, like 2 medium attacks, and then another full round of combo. So I think that's very, very valuable. So, I don't know, I still rate Storm, you know, she's a really, really good champion, especially if you get the 5-star Awaken and take her up to rank 4, you know, that's a pretty easy Labyrinth clear. So, I don't know, I think I'm going to keep Storm up there, but I do appreciate your perspective on that, but I'm not too sure I agree with Strange. Like, Strange... I think Strange is one of those champions that at the moment I believe is in my amazing tier, right? So my demigod tier champion is Ghostrider, because Ghostrider I see as like a Doctor Strange that is a lot more powerful and you have a lot more control over. Just, you know, if you compare Doctor Strange and Ghostrider, in pretty much every scenario, Ghostrider is your go-to champion. So I think Doctor Strange, he doesn't really have enough to bring him up to the demigod tier, in my opinion. So yeah, I do appreciate that. Although I have 2-4 Jane Fosters in my list. Where's the second one? I think I might have it in the... Yeah, I have it on that one. I appreciate you, what was that? Pointing that one out. Right, let's get rid of that for sure. Let's have a look. Oh, hey, what is up, Juice? Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Read through the list. Agree on most of them except Scarlet Witch. She's in a class of her own pre-12.0, but randomness is really not something I would look for in a character under the God tier class. This is my take. It's an interesting one, man. Interesting one. I don't know. I think Scarlet Witch is kind of one of those characters that is borderline. You know, there are some characters in God tier that I'd say are definitely up there. Like, I'd say pretty much everyone apart from Scarlet Witch, I would say is definitively in God tier. But I believe Scarlet Witch has so much merit for a player that is kind of progressing and trying to get, like, everything outside of Labyrinth of Legends, you can face roll with a Scarlet Witch. So, I don't know. That's why I still hold Scarlet Witch in quite high regard. Obviously, she's nowhere near as powerful as she used to be, but it doesn't negate the fact that she's still a really, really good champion and very, very easy to play. And, you know, if you're lucky, it's just crazy. Still really, really crazy. So I don't know. I still hold Scarlet Witch in quite high regard, but I can understand the perspective. So for the Alliance War Defense tab, like, just don't even look at it at the moment. In terms of defenders, like, it's pointless talking about defenders at the moment because Alliance War is a broken shit show right now. So yeah, like, my advice is just don't rank up any defenders. Like, it's not needed until they kind of provide a bit more of a detailed update on exactly where they're going for Alliance War. But yeah, Juice and Jeff, appreciate the support, lads. Nebula is ass. I think I've got Carnage in the good tier. The good tier is kind of like my, you know, because in the current state of Marvel Contest of Champions, there aren't any characters that, like, for example, when I started playing the game, there were characters that had so many debuffs that with willpower, they would just excessively heal the opponent and you could, like, never win matches. So there aren't any characters that are gonna, like, be that bad. But Carnage kind of comes into he's good, he's alright, like, he'll deal a little bit of damage, he's got that going on. But then if you know, brought up, like, a Carnage versus an Archangel, you'd really see how shit he was in comparison. What's that? Oh, man, has Ham done a comment? Let's have a bit of a look at that. I'm interested to get Ham's perspective. What's that? Scarlet Witch is in good tier? Nah, man. Scarlet Witch has still got a lot going on. I don't know. Scarlet Witch at high dupe level, I would say, is god tier. I mean, that's an additional caveat that is in with the tier list as well. I have champion relies on being awakened. I could add, like, an additional caveat of, like, an additional symbol that, like, would signify that this champion is only good at a high dupe level. I think that would be interesting, because I think, you know, Scarlet Witch and Black Widow definitely fall under that caveat. Same with Daredevil Classic, of, you know, if you want to kind of play those champions, you kind of need them at a high dupe level. So yeah, I don't know what symbol, but I think that's an interesting one to have a little bit of a look at. But yeah, I appreciate that bit of feedback. That's good. Psylocke should be switched with Scarlet Witch. You can see the utilities tab, Omkar, if you open the spreadsheet. I mean, Ham, what I really appreciate, man, because I haven't really seen that much Psylocke gameplay, and the very initial thoughts and stuff that I've heard from Psylocke is she's a very underwhelming power control champion, especially in kind of the matchups where it counts against, you know, big Mystic Dispersion opponents. And I know, being one of the most savvy Marvel Contest of Champions players, man, I'm gonna leave Psylocke where she is at the moment, but I will be very open if you can send me, and this is to anyone, guys, if you can send me a video of any champion that you believe needs to be moved up a tier, kind of justifying why that champion is a tier better, like, show me what that champion can do, essentially. I'll watch it. Just tweet it at me, send it via email, just either one of those two ways, because I'm very, very open to yeah, what is it, kind of shifting stuff around. But again, I need to be convinced that champions are a lot bit better than they are, and the best way to convince people, guys, is via YouTube videos. So it ain't too bad. How good is Civil Warrior? Not very good. Civil Warrior comparatively is a very lacking vision, at least in my opinion. So he is he's in the good tier. He's in that. It should maybe be called the okay tier. But I don't know. There are a lot of champions here. They'll get the job done in a lot of scenarios. Let's have a look. Is Doc Ock in the demigod tier? He is indeed. He is just down here. Doc Ock doesn't need to be awakened. Great champion. I really, really like Doc Ock. I think he's a fantastic character. Definitely one of my favorite designs in the last few months. What about Logan? Old Man Logan is in the good tier. Like, I don't know, maybe arguments could be made for Old Man Logan being bumped up to amazing tier. But in terms of, like, upgrade resources, like, there are much better characters to spend your resources on in terms of the mutant class. What's that? I've not seen that. No, I'll have a little bit of a look. I really, you know, Archangel is a ridiculous character. So much power, man, for sure. Cap Classic on Demigod tier. Cap Classic has actually been moved down to the Amazing tier. Like, I think Quake and Captain America Classic, there aren't really many scenarios where you play those champions at the moment. We had a bit of a discussion on Twitter about this morning, and I think power control and insane damage and unique utility are kind of the things that are making the really good champions like top tier at the moment. Like block proficiency, it's just not really cutting the mustard anymore now that a lot of people have either got very good at parrying or are kind of pushing with the intercepts. I think people rely on the block champion. I mean, I'm just speaking for the top perspective, but you'll get to a level where I just never feel the need to queue up with Captain America World War II. So yeah. Who's the worst character in the game at the moment? In terms of a champion that you play, I would probably say it's Groot. Groot is probably the most annoying champion to play because his damage sucks. But yeah, there's a lot of very bad champions in the meta, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you there, Ham, for sure. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a look at it, Juice, for sure. I imagine it's a fairly recent video then. Whereas Dr. Voodoo? Dr. Voodoo is top left hand. Yeah, in the God tier, man. Dr. Voodoo, a champion that I regard very highly. But I think Magneto needs a buff. Yeah, certainly. It's one of the things we were talking about this well. A conversation I had on Twitter this morning was somebody who was talking about Venom Pool as a champion that, you know, I need to value a little bit more. And I said that, you know, somebody said that Venom Pool, like, he has bleed, he has heal block, you know, you don't give him enough justice. So my kind of counter argument to that was, you know, if you look at, like, Archangel versus Venom Pool, like Archangel, he has heal block, he has bleed, he has roughly about 4 to 5 times the damage output of Venom Pool, and also ability accuracy reduction and stun. So, you know, if you really like put certain champions that are a bit down the line in a comparative context, you can really see just how shit they are. I think that the state of, like, character balance in Marvel Contest of Champions is pretty atrocious, like, just because there's such a big gap between champions. It's crazy. I mean, Deadpool X-Force is a champion that you can make a relatively similar comparison between, you know, him and Archangel. It's just absurd, man. Just absurd. It really doesn't have anything going on for him. What sig level do I think Archangel needs to be God tier? I mean, just, oh God, as soon as you get him awakened, really, he's pretty God tier. But ideally you want, I'd say at least, like, ideally 59 dupe levels on Archangel, but anything above like 19 is pretty great. But he doesn't have regen, Seatin. Yeah, but simultaneously, I don't know anybody that plays Venom Pool for regeneration. If you want regeneration, you go with Wolverine, or you maybe go with Dr. Voodoo, or maybe a Scarlet Witch or a Ghostrider. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, thinking about what you want per matchup. Because that regeneration on Venom Pool is so awesome. You know, it's very circumstantial only when your opponent has buffs. So yeah, I don't rate that. But that is a point. I guess, you know, yeah, a little bit of regeneration versus like 4 or 5 times the damage, and the ability to stun, and the ability to reduce defensive ability accuracy by 100%. You know, Venom Pool, he still comes up really short. So yeah, I don't think there's much going there. Thoughts on Iceman as an attacker for Alliance War? I think Iceman he's one of my favorite attackers to use in Alliance War because he's a very versatile champion. He can deal with, you know, the poison and bleed nodes. Well, not that we have all or nothing nodes, but if there are any power gain nodes where you believe it's the right call to try and push your opponent to the special free, and then, you know, take that special free and only take 5% damage, I really like that. The ability to counter evade is great. Like Iceman's such a great champion. He's just so incredibly diverse in the ways that you can potentially use him. So yeah, I do hold him in high regard. Let's have a look. Angela, again, the difference between Star-Lord and Angela is that Star-Lord takes a long combo to do damage, but Angela can do hard damage in a shorter amount of time. I recommend moving Angela to God tier. If you use her for content, she dispatches enemies very quick. She might not be low material, but in hard content, she hits hard. I think my appreciation of Angela is kind of shown in the demigod tier, because I think there are a lot of champions, you know, that do hit extremely hard, but, you know, in comparison to Hyperion I don't believe that Angela has enough to get her up to God tier. I see what you're saying there, Sin6, and I've actually watched quite a few Labyrinth videos of like a rank 4 Angela going against Red Hulk and various opponents. And I do think she's a really, really good character. I think, you know, arguably second best Cosmic at the moment. I think she's a bit of a cut above Medusa because she doesn't rely on that Inhumans team synergy. But I don't believe she is enough. You know, she has enough going for her to get her up to the God tier. But a demigod tier champion for sure. Brilliant Unawakened. Like, I do hold Angela in quite high value for sure. If Venom Paw is awakened, he can get indestructible or unstoppable. He can, yes, but those effects are totally random. And indestructible and unstoppable, you know, they're kind of unstoppable when you're playing a champion, not really too useful. Indestructible is useful if you could trigger it at a certain time. But the fact that it's all just completely random makes Venom Paw's awakened ability arguably close to worthless. Like, he's just doesn't really, you know, have much power going on now. Okay, Quake needs to be upgraded to at least a demigod tier because her concussion will get around all abilities, her stun after the earthquake charges interrupt specials, and she has great base damage output. It's a bit of an interesting one. I guess I think those are some good points about Quake, Troy, definitely. But one of the things that I struggle to get with Quake is what matchups would you play Quake over something like an Archangel, a Matric, or a Hulk? Or a Yellow Jacket, you know? I guess that's kind of my main thing with Quake. I don't really see the benefit of playing her over other champions. I get that she's a very unique and interesting playstyle, and it's a playstyle that only a really small percent of players can get into, and even if you get down that playstyle, I just don't think she's rewarding enough, you know? I don't know. I just if you could give me one example of a matchup where you believe that Quake would be the be-all end-all champion over any other option that's either in the God tier or demigod tier, I'd be interested to get that. But yeah, I don't know. Quake is just one of those champions that I think is just a little bit too awkward. I've played her quite a bit. I don't, you know, maybe it's my personal bias, but I just don't really see much reason for playing Quake. So I'm a bit interested. Just get some additional thoughts on that. How is Adrian Venom as a 5-star on Jupe? Not too bad, not too bad. He got the ability to, what is it, reduce evade a little bit, some decent damage. So yeah, he's got a bit going on for him for sure. And also, once again, thank you very much to Alex for the super chat, man. I forgot to say a big thank you, my friend. Hey, what is up, her? How's it going, my friend? What's that? I'm gonna be very disappointed if that B spot after Black Widow is Cable and Cable is Black Cat and not Blade. Dude, it's gonna be Blade, man, for sure. So I'm very interested to see what happens. Archangel's limited to non-immune champions, though. That's very true. I mean, I'm not really arguing that the God tier champions are amazing in every circumstance. Any knowledgeable Marvel Contest of Champions players know that every champion has their Achilles heel and matchup where they won't do incredibly well at. But you know, there are champions. There are circumstances where Archangel is beyond ridiculous. He's just so crazy. What's that? Your reasoning for Venom Paw's worthlessness should be applied to Scarlet Witch as well. She should be demoted. She hasn't been viable in months. You know, I'd say I think that's an interesting one. Because I think, like, Scarlet Witch, in terms of the random effects that she has, like Venom Paw's ones, even in the best case scenario, they're still pretty rubbish. But Scarlet Witch, you know, she can proc a 20% regeneration, which is a good majority of an arc overload off a crit. And, you know, if you compare that to a champion like Ultron, and she can get that multiple times per fight, you know, you can still take a bit of block damage and mess up here and there and keep on going, but providing that you get lucky. But again, you do need to have her at a high sig level. I think that's an additional caveat that I'll kind of express in the tier list, because I kind of do agree with the point. If you have Scarlet Witch, and she's at a fairly low dupe level, like, she's not really, you know, she's going to be considerably less reliable and not much of a great option. But I believe, you know, the buffs that she does get in comparison to Venom Paw's are probably about, I would say about 4 or 5 times better. And the frequency that she can get them is considerably more aggressive as well. See, and what about the Hood? Hood is in my demigod tier, right? Yeah, I like Hood, man. Great utilities champion. Got a lot going on for him. Like, I rate Hood, man. He's one of my favorite characters to play for sure. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that perspective on Ghostrider as well, about his judgments can fail. That is annoying. I hate that Ghostrider's judgments can fail. Oh, that was the thing that frustrated me the most when Ghostrider came out. That they just had like the small % chance to like do nothing, man. It annoys me. What's that? Age of Ultron Vision is overrated. I don't believe so, man. You know, he's got 4 power control mechanics, and poison, bleed immunity, heal block. Like, I think I think arguably the, well, I would say now I understand the value of the OG Vision over the Age of Ultron one, but I still, you know, I still believe they're both very, very good champions, you know? I don't see OG Deadpool, get him in God tier ASAP. But the thing is about OG Deadpool, same with Thanos, it's like nobody really has those champions, you know? And the people that do have those champions, like, they're aware of the value. So they're pretty irrelevant to some extent. I guess I've still got Kang in there. But, yeah, I mean, you haven't been able to get... I've been playing this game for 18 months, and I haven't been able to get an OG Deadpool. So I am just on the assumption at the moment they have retired that character, and that he's not really worth bringing into many conversations. So, yeah. Where's Green Goblin? I've got Green Goblin at the bottom of my amazing tier. So, Green Goblin... he's got some decent damage. He hits alright. Nowhere near in comparison to some of the potential that the champions have in God tier and Demigod tier. I really hate his power drain on the special one, but that's completely random and unreliable. And yeah, I think he's an alright champion. You know, if you got a Green Goblin, he's going to get you through a lot of stuff if you're a progressing player. But his unreliability just irks me about the champion. You know, if I wanted to play between like Green Goblin and Doc Ock any day of the week, man, that champion is fantastic. There's so much reliable stuff that you can do. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really rate Green Goblin that high, personally. LT has Deadpool. I know, man. I know. Regarding Cat World War II, you said you lowered him because block isn't great for higher end players, but you also said this list is for newer players. Oh, damn. It's an interesting perspective there, Doug. I guess to make like good rank up choices. I'm having a little bit of a think about that one, because you're right, I have contradicted myself on some level on that. But I still don't believe kind of like moving into the end game, especially with the state of block proficiency and the way that it's been altered. Like, even if you're moving into the end game with like Cap America World War II, Quake, and Captain America Classic, you're still taking a lot of block damage. It's just substantially more than it was 12.0. And I think that the ideal way of playing for somebody progressing is to try and cut relying on block as quickly as they can, to try and pick up, like, you know, nailing as many parries as they can, and then moving on to trying to pick up some intercept tactics. So yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about, though, man. That's a good point. You've definitely tripped me up there. Hood Stagger is so much fun. I agree in that. I definitely agree on that. What about Magic? She's in God tier. I think I really rate Magic. Like, don't get me wrong. I think she's a fantastic power control champion. But outside of the realm of power control, which at the moment is very important in Alliance War, makes her one of the best attackers. But outside of the realm of power control, she doesn't have too much else going on for her. You know, the damage on Magic, it's good, but it's not anywhere near something of like an Archangel or Gwenpool or Hyperion or Stark Spidey. So yeah, I like Magic a lot. I like Magic a lot, but I think she's rightfully so in Demigod tier. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. I still believe Scarlet Witch is good. So do I. That's why I got on my God tier, man. I feel like, you know, if you got high level, Jeep level Scarlet Witch, she's gonna carry you a lot of places, man. Hopefully you use the list to rank the right champion, since he probably won't get any more rank down tickets. Yeah, that's essentially it, Ryan. If, you know, there's so much to Marvel Contest of Champions that I guess, you know, if you've been playing the game for like a year and a half, you take you kind of take for granted like how many champions there are in this game, and you know how champions kind of compare to each other. Because, you know, starting this game as a new player and being like, okay, there are 106 champions on the table. Which ones are good? Which ones aren't good? You know, it's a nice point of reference. But again, once you get into the game, you can make decisions for yourself. I'm definitely not going to, you know, the tier list is never going to completely appease everyone, and everyone's never going to agree on it. But I find it interesting to have these conversations with the channel, just to kind of get perspective on why, you know, people believe certain champions should be higher or lower. So yeah, I quite like it, man. That's true. That's true on the nullifying there. I don't think you don't really want to use the special one for nullify. I guess in the kind of like nullify buff matchups, I think in the majority of cases, a Dr. Voodoo is better. But maybe if it's saying there's a poison immune, like a really stacked Black Bolt, I can kind of maybe understand the inclination to go toward magic. But I would actually probably go for a Scarlet Witch in that scenario against a very stacked Black Bolt. Because, you know, she would have the regeneration, and especially with Mystic Dispersion, you'd be fueling her power so much that you'd be able to get off a ton of special 2s, and special 2s on the Scarlet Witch still hit really, really hard. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But again, you know, if you're looking to kind of, I guess, put forward a justification, like it's good to have examples of where champions excel and don't. What's that? If Scarlet Witch is God tier, why is she last on the God tier list? Because I guess that's kind of a underhanded comment about Scarlet Witch, that she's only, in my opinion, only just God tier. You know, if any one champion was to be demoted to demigod tier, it would be Scarlet Witch for sure. Why is Stark Spidey in God tier? Have you seen what that champion can do? His damage output is insane. He's got a stun on a special 1. He can auto, you know, really high chance to auto evade projectile attacks. Has the taunt mechanic, so can get special attacks out of the opponent considerably easier. Crazy damage on the special 2, power drain on his heavy attack. Like, Stark Spidey, man, he's crazy, crazy good champion. Very fun to play as well in terms of his animations. So yeah, I rate Stark and Aunt Spider-Man for quite a bit. Drax doesn't need to be awakened to be demigod. Is he close to god tier awakened? No, I think even... I guess the kind of point that I wanted to make with Drax is that his awakened ability is nice, but you don't really need to have it. Like, it's just a little bit more fury, a little bit more damage, but it's not as, you know, impactful and game-changing, for example, as Medusa or Thor's awakened abilities. Like, Thor, he definitely needs to be awakened if you want to play him. And same with Medusa. So yeah, that's kind of it. Why is Iceman in God tier? Why shouldn't he be in God tier? What's the counter reason for that? Is Medusa at the top end of the demigod tier or at the bottom? Trying to decide whether or not to go for her as a 5-star. You know, if you've got the Awakening gem, Medusa's an alright option, but again, you got Stark and Aunt Spider-Man coming around in a little bit, who is pretty great even unawakened. So I did a video on this about a week ago about which 5-star champions to go for, and personally, if you're going to go for a featured, my advice is that you only go for god tier champions, because especially in the 10k pool, like the majority, you know, by December, the majority of what I perceive to be god tier champions are going to be in there. You're going to have your Dr. Voodoo, your Archangel, your Gwenpool, your Hyperion, your Iceman. Stark and Aunt Spider-Man comes in January. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff even comes to the basic pool. I think one of the things that's going to be quite fascinating is seeing like new players over Christmas like open their very first 5-star crystal, and instead of the usual, what is it, like, see so many people like, oh, I got Spider-Gwen or Luke Cage or Hulkbuster or Colossus. We're gonna see players that from their first 5-star get like Gwenpool or Archangel or Iceman or Hyperion or Dr. Voodoo. Oh man, that's gonna be an interesting time, man. An interesting time. The 5-star crystal is definitely gonna be interesting, man, for sure. Medusa is a beast and so smooth to play, even unawakened. I really rate Medusa. I think they did a fantastic job on her design. I think just comparatively, I don't really see much reason to play Medusa over a Stark and Aunt Spider-Man. I think he's better of the two characters, but I guess Medusa does have the merit of being a poison immune character if that is something you need. I never see you use my 5-star Cable. Why is he in demigod tier? I think the reason you never see me use my 5-star Cable, Matt, is I just usually play my god tier champions. You know, I got the Star-Lord, the Voodoo, the Iceman, the what is it, the Gwenpool. They're all at 5-star rank 4, so I don't really have much of a reason to dip down and play characters like Cable. But I like Cable. Cable's a very interesting. He's a little bit better after the patch, but I don't know. I kind of, you know, one of the potential regrets is I regret rushing into getting Cable and awakening him on day 1, because if I'd been a little bit more patient and waited to assess his value in a little bit more detail, I would have probably come to the conclusion that I didn't want him as a 5-star, and then I could have saved for Archangel and maybe got an awakened Archangel. But again, I've had such fantastic luck so far that I can't really complain about my roster, man. Ain't too bad, ain't too bad. What's that? I would put Doc Ock in amazing tier and not demigod tier. Everything he does, someone else does better, and they don't need to special free first. I wouldn't agree with that, because Doc Ock has the potential to infinitely power lock and have a reliable infinite power lock. And some champions have that to an extent, but Matric's power lock, you know, is only an 85% chance. So that are matchups and scenarios where, you know, that might not trigger for like 2 times and cause you to lose the fight. So yeah, I think Dr. Octopus definitely has a level of reliability and slight merit in the fact that he can also heal block as well. So yeah, I really rate Doc Ock. Like, I think he's got, well, heal block and heal siphon as well. So yeah, there's some very, very interesting things Dr. Octopus can do, which, you know, if you want to find out a little bit more about that character, I did a video talking about why I believe he's demigod tier. I think it's a few weeks, probably about a month back now, so you can watch that if you want to see all the justifications for that one. Gwenpool over Hyperion. She's the ability to stop passive abilities where hype. I mean, they both definitely have their merits for sure. Like, Hyperion is just like the craziest hard-hitting champion, poison immunity, stun, like crazy power gain. Like, Hyperion has a lot going for him. I believe they're both rightfully in the demigod tier. Hey, it's all good. Well, welcome back, man. It's a pleasure to see you on the stream today. So I have Cap World War II and Demigod, but Cap Normal and Amazing. Normal Cap has a 40% chance to perfect block, whereas World War II only has 30%. That extra 10% makes fighting bosses like Dormammu and AQ great. I guess that is an argument that could be made, but simultaneously, if we're talking specifically about Dormammu in Alliance Quest, I would say that either Captain America doesn't have enough damage. If you're on a decent Prestige Alliance, like neither one of them, you know, there are better options. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, I regard Yellow Jacket, Hulk, let's pick up a few more, like Star-Lord, Stark and Aunt Spider-Man, Hyperion, Iceman. I regard those all as considerably better options for dealing with Dormammu. Same with even champions like, you know, if you brought a Storm, a Wolverine X-23, Elektra would be pretty good for dealing with Dormammu. Hood's a really good Dormammu matchup. But yeah, I just don't believe that Cap Classic has enough going on to make him kind of a desired Dormammu killer. His damage output is a little bit too low in my opinion, so that's kind of just my perspective on that. Iron Fist is terrible. Low health, no armor, me damage. Yeah, well, he's got decent damage. His damage isn't insanely low, especially with the combination of Mystic Dispersion. He can be brought up there. But he kind of does need to be awakened. But he's a very flimsy champion. But if you can play him quite well, you know, he's all right. That's why he kind of falls in my middle tier there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the Mystic class, I think, you know, you're very right on the assumption that there are better Mystic champions out there. And there are quite a few of them in the, you know, God tier and Demigod tier on this the spreadsheet, man, for sure. Should I awaken Scarlet Witch or Wolverine? Kind of depends where you're at and what you need. I'd maybe go for Wolverine. Like, I think Wolverine's a very reliable champion in terms of his regeneration. He's a character that I always use for Alliance quests, so if I had to make the decision between the two, I go for Wolverine. But I don't know, I guess there could be some counter-arguments for Scarlet Witch there if you're kind of a medium level of progress and need her to kind of face roll a great amount of content. Whereas Medusa? Medusa is in the Demigod tier. I like my Medusa. I think she's God tier, honestly. She's not God tier because she hits less hard than Angela. She's a very good champion. Like, I won't deny that. But, you know, if you look at the damage output, of the god tier champions and what they're capable of in terms of their utility, and then kind of bring Medusa up to the table. I believe you will hopefully come to the conclusion that she's a tier below as well. But Medusa has really good damage output, definitely not denying that, but I feel like she fits incredibly well into the demigod tier. I don't think Hawkeye is demigod tier. Too many better power, drain, control champions. I guess the merit of Hawkeye is that his power drain's quite easy to get off, and he seems to be an MVP for a lot of events, and a lot of people really like using him for Alliance War. Because, like, with, what is it, Matric, sometimes Matrics can be a little bit too slow if you need to build up to a special 2. Dormammu, I guess, you know, if you do need a quick way to control power, Dormammu is one of the best options, because you can just go in with a double medium combo. But I don't know, I like Hawkeye. I've seen a lot of people use Hawkeye endgame content and really pilot the character very well. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for Hawkeye. You know, I feel like he hits decently. You got a very strong bleed going about him, and there are scenarios and matchups where I do believe that character is fairly decent to use. What's that? Seatin, Yondu is underrated. He is a beast as a 5-star. His special 2 can do tons of damage. I mean, those aren't really like great arguments, Bogdan. Like, his special 2 can do tons of damage. What does that tell me? What is a ton of damage? What metric? You know, that doesn't really give me information to, what is it, make a judgment and replace a character. So if you could, you know, if you got 5-star Yondu, if you've got him at rank 4, I would love to see some gameplay, man. I would absolutely love to see some gameplay in Alliance War, Realm of Legends, Labyrinth of Legends. But at the moment, I've got Yondu in my amazing tier, because I feel like he's a really good champion, does some really nice damage, got some awesome utility as well, very fun to play. But I just believe he's a cut below of a lot of the champions that I have in the demigod tier. So yeah, I really like Yondu. I feel like he's a lot of potential, but I just haven't really, like, seen too much of it at the moment. So yeah, make some Yondu videos, guys. If you got 5-star Yondu or a 4-star 550, and you want to convince me that he's demigod tier, I'm all up for that. Just make a video, man. Send it my way. Whereas Mordo is in my amazing tier in terms of offense. You know, he's got a bit of regeneration, stun on a special 1. You can get, you know, 10 stacks of Fury up, make him hit quite a bit harder. But still, nothing super amazing about Mordo. But he's a pretty decent champion, you know. I quite enjoy him. Yondu does a metric ton of damage. See, I've got a Yondu. He does alright damage. But it's not that much. Not that much. Maybe a special 2 hits quite hard in really long fights. But I guess the argument could be made in those longer fights. You know, there are champions with an insane amount of ramp up damage that can finish the fight, well, can either ramp up to even more damage or finish the fight significantly faster. So yeah, interesting one, man. Can I address or update your list on ability to clear LoL? For example, I believe Wolverine is god tier, but don't think he'd clear the LoL. I wouldn't say I wouldn't look at this list if you're looking for champions to clear Labyrinth of Legends. I'd look at the Labyrinth of Legends guide on the channel, because in that I have champion suggestions for which ones are fairly decent to take up the rank for if you want to power through that. So yeah, don't look at that list. Go and look up the Labyrinth of Legends guide, and hopefully yeah, your questions will be answered there. Right, let's have a look. Green Goblin is by far my favorite character. I really like Green Goblin's animations. I just wish he was better, man. I want him to be better so badly. I just hate the way that he's designed. Like, his special 1, man, it makes me rage for sure. I think people don't realize how great Captain Marvel is. Rank 5, level 99, and hits like a truck. I haven't seen any gameplay videos that, put a 550 Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel at a higher damage output level than Medusa, Angela, 4, and Drax. So if you want to make one of those videos, again, without using Suicide Masteries, again, very open to having that stuff sent my way. But all of the gameplay that I've seen of high-end Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, yeah, the damage output is very nice, but again, it's lacking in comparison to what I currently classify as the demigod tier cosmics. But yeah, I'm interested to see that. If you have some good stuff, if you know a way of playing the characters, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe those champions have the potential to exceed what we currently have listed as demigod. Is Guillotine a good first 5-star? Yeah, pretty good, man, pretty good. The argument could be made that Gwenpool is only good against bleeders. Yep, we've totally discussed that, man. Every champion has their circumstantial matchups for sure. I mean, even against champions that don't bleed, like Gwenpool's base damage in terms of her attack, crit chance and crit damage are well above average. So even when she can't bleed, she's actually still quite oddly a cut above the rest in comparison to quite a few other champions. Views on Medusa. She's a demigod, man. I really like Medusa. I think she has a lot of potential there. Magic Alliance War Boss Killer, 5.3 killer, Power Gain Killer. Who you talking about there, Gabriel? Which champion, man? Are you talking about... Oh. Are you talking about Matric just as a champion? Or, yeah, I'm a little bit confused. If you just reformat that sentence, that'd be appreciated. Miss Marvel is underrated. Prove it. That's what I need. I need proof. Again, if you have any interesting videos that you can find, I'd be very interested. You know, just tweet them at me, guys, if there's already the information out there. But yeah, my Twitter's always open for videos. Same thing with the email inbox. How's Rocket as a first 5-star? Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Whereas Matric, she's easily in the top 5, can solo any boss in Alliance War, is awesome for questing, Alliance Quest and Alliance War. All she is missing is LOL. I guess that's one of the things, I don't know. I guess an argument could be made for Matric to be put in God tier. I think the thing is, like, Matric's very good for power control matchups. And also, she has that Nullify and the Special 3. But it's really just power control matchup. I don't really see any reason to play Matric in Alliance Quest, if I'm honest, over other champions. And her damage output isn't that great. It's alright. It's definitely a cut above some other champions. But it's just the power control. And, you know, granted, like, power control is so incredibly valuable at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's quite there. But she's borderline, for sure. She's definitely borderline God tier. Again, it's very... I guess it's difficult to fit 106 champions into the constraints of 5 different tiers. When, you know, there are... You know, any savvy player knows that circumstantially every champion has good and bad matchups. Like Gwenpool. If you took Gwenpool against Black Panther Civil War, oh, mate, you're dead. You're dead immediately. Is it the same thing with Archangel? Maybe not the same thing with Archangel, because he'd maybe reduce ability accuracy in time before you got wrecked by a reflex stun. Interesting though. Interesting. Magic doesn't have regen, but she does have limbo, which, you know, can circumstantially help you out if you mess up, and has, you know, my experience playing Magic. It's good, man. It's good. When is power control a bad thing, though? So I would say power control... I would argue that power control is a bad thing in scenarios... well, I guess it kind of depends on your skill level, but for my skill level, there are scenarios where the pattern of a fight, say for example like Red Hulk in Labyrinth of Legends, is just to like get to the special one, bait the special one, you know, very easy one that you can just avoid by like either doing a swipe back or kind of evading a projectile at the right time. I'd say those scenarios where you can get into a good flow of fighting like that, then maybe power control isn't the best thing, but simultaneously the high-end Magic players have reached a level that even after the special 2, they can immediately like land that hit that intercepts Magic and goes into an intercepts the whatever opponent they're fighting and go into another full combo. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say there are some scenarios where it's good to bait special attacks. Not every scenario. Those scenarios are they're a little bit rare, but usually in longer fights. If you're good at intercepting Magic as top 5, I would agree with that comment for sure, man. If Scarlet Witch was a 455, she'd be better than Magic. Oh man, Scarlet Witch at 455 would be dirty, my friend. It'd be absolutely dirty. But yeah, you could probably get through... Oh man, Labyrinth would be quite easy with a 455 Scarlet Witch. But again, doesn't look like we're going to see that character. What makes Wolverine God tier versus X-23 and Demigod? So I think the thing that kind of propels, at least from my perspective, Wolverine to God tier is his ability to regenerate is just so much more powerful than X-23's. I did a video a few months ago comparing their regeneration rates, but Wolverine's awakened ability gives you like an 8% chance to proc a 20% regeneration, provided on the provision that you're at 3 bars of power. So that's very powerful, my friend. That's very powerful. You know, like, that's on average, I think about, you know, if you had to break it out, it's 1 in every 13, 14 hits that you'd get a 20% regeneration. Think about how crazy that is, man. Plus, on top of the regular, I think it's like 8 to 10% regeneration. So yeah, Wolverine, insane regenerator. Makes him such a good, what is it, champion for Alliance Quest, because you can just keep on going and going and going. Yeah, I agree. I watched Joline's Magic run of Labyrinth of Legends. It was very fun, very impressive to watch the intercepting as soon as the opponent stands up. But simultaneously, it was long, man. It was a really long run. Like, Magic's damage output isn't that great. But the power control is amazing, especially when we're talking Alliance War. All this crazy power control stuff at endgame. What's that? Venom Paw is underrated, I think. He can nullify enemy buffs. He has heal blocking. Does we actually talked about Venom Paw a little bit earlier? You know, I'd say draw your comparison between Venom Paw and Awakened Archangel. I'll make this comparison one more time. But Archangel easily has 4 to 5 times the damage of Venom Paw. Like, that's not even up for debate. Like, Archangel's damage is absolutely absurd. And he also has heal block when he's awakened, as well as 100% ability accuracy reduction. Also stuns the opponent. His ability accuracy cannot be reduced. Like, Archangel is just so incredibly superior. I guess the only thing, you know, he's lacking in comparison to Venom Paw is the potential to heal a little bit off his special one on the provision that your opponent has a buff. And also the random effects, which are just so incredibly measly that they're useless. So, you know, I think Venom Paw, he's an alright character to pick up if you're very new and progressing and you need that champion with heal block. But, you know, in comparison to what is out there, you know, he does come up very lackluster in my opinion. You know, and I think generally a lot of endgame matchups, there's a very specific goal in mind, depending on who you're fighting. That diverse champions, you know, champions that can do a little bit of everything, aren't usually that great, unless they're Dr. Voodoo. In the case of Dr. Voodoo, he's very powerful with power control and very powerful at nullifying. And the champions that can do something a little bit, but not really too great, like Venom Paw being able to nullify like 1 buff and get a little bit of regeneration, it just isn't powerful enough to kind of make him a relevant character. How far we've come. I remember when you said Archangel was bad because of all the bleed poison immune champions. I think that was one of my initial skepticisms about Archangel. But simultaneously, you know, I think one of the very important things to bear in mind about me in the channel is I'm always open to kind of new information. And watching matchups and kind of videos and listening to people's arguments for various champions and having stuff like proven to me. You know, so I'm always, you know, if there is the right argument, if there is a compelling enough footage, I'm always open to, you know, changing my mind and changing my opinion. I will, you know, I'm doing the best I can with the knowledge and information I'm given. What's that? Why haven't I opened a 5-star Medusa crystal? For what are you saving those 5-star Cosmic Awakening gems for? She was already declared God tier. I don't know where you're getting any of that information from, if I'm honest, Ravi. Like, Medusa, in my opinion, definitely not God tier champion. She's demigod, she's very good. But if you missed out on some of the videos and live streams, I'm going for Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. Because Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, even unawakened, is better than Medusa awakened. Medusa's alright, though. She's a pretty good champion. But I just don't need her, man. Just don't need her. I'm much more concerned with getting that Stark Enhanced Spider-Man or saving up for a newer, better God tier champion. Hey, what's up, Ham? Thank you very much for the super chat. Also, appreciate the super chat, my boy Ravi. D-Baz, hey Seatin, in a Labyrinth of Legends fight, would Angela or Medusa have higher damage output, both awakened and including synergies? Interesting. I think it kind of depends on which team. If you could build a team that extended the enrage timer around Medusa, which I'm not too sure if you can, because I think the attack from the Inhuman synergy, instead of before the fight, it comes at the start of the fight, and I don't know if that impacts the enrage timer or not. I would say that I would perceive Angela with 4 Suicide Masteries, because, you know, she can recover the damage taken from Suicide Masteries to probably have higher damage output. But I'm just trying to think of any advantages of Medusa. Yeah, I'd probably say Angela would be a little bit better under the right ideal circumstances, but they'd both be options that were better than rank 4 5-star Captain Marvel. So yeah, either one of them would be good. Medusa for God tier, bruh. No, man. I mean, quite a few people are saying that, guys. I think you guys are just on the hype bandwagon at the moment. Not really looking at perspectives and stats, boys. It's hard to get off the hype bandwagon, for sure. It took me a while. Like, I was definitely driving the hype train for a good few months when I started getting into kind of reviewing champions and talking stuff. Oh, Dr. Evil. I need to do an updated guide for that, man. I'll get around to it at some point, for sure. How do you store all this knowledge about champions? How big is your brain? It's just full of, relatively pointless information about the power level of different champions, comparatively speaking. Man, I just spend way too much time playing this game and talking about it, man. That's pretty much it. I had, what was it? One of the channel regulars. He's initially from Canada, but he was visiting the UK for the last week, and my day yesterday was essentially, I picked up her, and then we spent like 4 hours in a pub in Woking, just chatting about Marvel Contest of Champions and game design, because he has like a 15-year background in game design, so we had incredibly in-depth conversations about so many different elements of Marvel Contest of Champions and how they monetize, and trying to, you know, hash out the core issues, man. It was such a great time. And then, like, I finished, what was it? I dropped him kind of around at the other side of Woking, so you get a train and then fly back to, what was it, Berlin? And then I went home, and then I got ready, and then I went on a hot date yesterday evening, and that was a fantastic time, man. Went to the newly opened Taco Bell in Woking, and then we went to see it. It was a sick night, boys. It was a sick night. But yeah, I did, to yesterday, I mean, it was a really fun day, man. Really fun day. If Medusa has those inhuman synergy as part of her abilities, she'll be God tier. Yeah, I agree so. If those, even with the synergies, she's still quite below Hyperion, in my opinion. Hyperion, I believe, he brings quite a bit to the table. I don't know. That's an interesting one to think of. I still think, like, even if she did have those synergies as a passive, I think Hyperion is still a better character. But, what is it? Yeah, I mean, if she had, like, that much on her base level and then additional synergies which powered her even higher, then Medusa would be crazy, man. She'd be so crazy. Whereas Whale Milker 27, I've been progressing quite a bit on Whale Milker, actually. Just getting the monthly event quest done. Got a big crystal opening sometime when I next fire up a live stream on that. So yeah, we'll have to see what's up. My 5-star 455 Medusa takes down Realm Legends when Soldier faster than my 5-star 455 Gwenpool. Both using Mutant Crit Team. Just saying. Dude, you can say all you want, man, but you gotta get that YouTube video up. Show me, son. Show me. That's what I'm interested in. But, yeah, that's an interesting one. It's just with a Mutant Crit Team. I'd be very interested to see some gameplay, Dom, if that is the case. I mean, I've got a few people in my alliance that have got a rank 4 Medusa, and I haven't really seen anything of that power level yet. So again, I'm very open to having my opinion swayed, man. But I need those videos, man. Need those videos. Seatin, I think you're underrating Cat Marvel as a champion. Proof, her damage is insane. See, that just by saying proof, it doesn't make it proof, my friend. You gotta show me a video, bro. Gotta show me a video. Her damage is okay. It's definitely above average. She's clearing low. Yeah, with certain setups. I have seen a couple of people go for low 100% with her. But then again, the argument could be made that you can go 100% low with any champion that has decent damage output. But comparatively, you know, everything that I've seen about her so far indicates that she is under the power level and damage output of Medusa, Angela, 4, and So if you can show me some footage, man, if you can prove it to me, I'm very open. But just typing proof in chat, man, like, it's not going to change my opinion. Like, I got to see it, man. I got to see those hits going in. Holy crap, Jaded Seatin. Not sure why you're undervaluing Medusa, but as far as playstyle, Medusa beats out Hyperion. Again, saying that, man, and displaying it are two totally different things. So, and I have not, you know, I've watched quite a bit of Medusa gameplay. I've yet to see anything that visually justifies what you're saying in chat. So, like that, you know, if you want to make arguments about character rankings and stuff, like, you gotta have the videos, boys. Gotta have the videos to back it up. That's what I need, man. Seeing Scarlet Witch and Gwenpool over Medusa and Matric, really, fam, what you playing at? I think we talked about quite a bit of detail about Scarlet Witch and Gwenpool, man. They're crazy, crazy good champions. Matric, very good for power control, which, you know, is very highly valued in Alliance War. And I rate that at the moment. I really rate that. But overall, Magic's damage output, it's a little bit lackluster, man. A little bit lackluster. And she doesn't really have any other scenarios that you play her outside of the power control. And we have talked about scenarios where it's kind of the same questions coming up. But yeah, there are scenarios where you actually don't want to power control your opponent. For example, like in Labyrinth, you know, where you just want to continually bait special ones, because it's super easy to do, and you can just keep on going in. But I kind of do understand the argument that in the hands of a really good player that can intercept like crazy, and has analyzer level skill, like, I don't know, Magic's definitely got some value there. But I rate Matric. She's definitely one of the ones that would be borderline that. But Medusa, I mean, a lot of people on the Medusa hype bandwagon, but oh, I want to see it, man. I want to see it. He's hating on Medusa. I'm not hating on Medusa, man. I'm just saying, like, if you want to argue that Medusa is better than Hyperion, like, you gotta have something to back it up. That's the point that I'm trying to put out there, right? It's the point that I'm trying to put out there. Since champions like Wolverine, Scarlet Witch, and 4 aren't available as 5 stars, you're going to have to move them down lower. So I'll probably do a separate tier list for 5-star champions. I feel like that's probably the direction it'll go out. What's that? Seeing Gwenpool and Medusa have damage output is very close. And if the enemy is bleed immune, Medusa is way better. I think, you know, there are some additional arguments about Gwenpool having the ability to fully reduce ability accuracy after 50 hits. Like, that's really, really powerful. And also 2% additional per, you know, 2% reduction per hit. Really, really good as well. And also Gwenpool has the power lock on her special too. Medusa, I guess, in comparison, has poison immunity and the ability to auto block. But what is it with Medusa as well? Are we talking about scenarios where you can play Medusa independently, or with like the full Inhumans team synergy? Because that's something that I haven't seen enough Medusa gameplay footage independently to kind of rank her over. I don't really see where the argument's coming from, because I watched and discussed with quite a few players about kind of Medusa's damage output, and it's a little bit better than Angela's in the right conditions where she has the Inhumans team synergy. But aside from that, Angela hits harder than Medusa, as far as I'm aware. You know, if she doesn't have the Inhumans team synergy. So I'm interested, yeah, I just want, if somebody has, you know, an Awakened Medusa, guys, just get on it, man, get that gameplay up. But, yeah, I mean, I've got a Medusa, what is it, 550 kill from one of the subs on the channel, and that wasn't really that impressive against Winter Soldier. It was alright, man, it was alright. Yeah, I certainly don't hate Medusa. I just, I think a lot of people are a little bit too shrouded by the hype of a new champion at the moment to accurately assess her on a comparative basis. Hey, what is up, Egan? Hope you're doing well, man. But yeah, again, if you what is it, send me a video of like a Gwenpool versus Medusa under the same conditions, and Medusa is greatly out-damaging the Gwenpool, I'll admit, man, I'll admit when I'm wrong. Either that, or you don't know how to play Gwenpool, which I do see quite a bit. A lot of people do use, like, they either spam, like, Special 1 or Special 2 on Gwenpool, and lose so much bleed damage. So yeah, that's one thing I do see with a lot of Gwenpool players, man. Is not everybody knows how to use her to her maximum potential. Don't know if Black Bolt is amazing tier. The better you are, the worse the sig ability is. Also, where's my Black Bolt? I feel like Black Bolt's quite goodly valued in amazing tier because he does hit quite hard, and also the stun on the special one is pretty decent. And you know, if you got the Medusa synergy thrown in there, he's not too bad. But I get the point on the special too. Like, I wish that didn't exist. And if you pair, what is it, Medusa with Black Bolt, then yeah, there's some crazy potential there. So yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Seeing I'm not on the hype train for Medusa, I watched Brian Grant test her and compare her to Gwenpool for Howers. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a look at that then. If he's done some in-depth testing, man, I'd be interested to kind of dig through that. But I guess that's what I'll do now, man. I guess that's what I'll do now. I'm interested to get a bit more. So Brian Grant did that experiment between Gwenpool and Medusa. Gwenpool still had greater damage on Realm of Legends Winter Soldier. Right. You guys are giving very mixed messages in chat. Because, like, one minute it's like, oh, Medusa's better than Gwenpool. And then it's like, oh, actually, she's not. I don't know what you're trying to say here, lads. I don't know what you're trying to say. Let's have a look. Magic has high damage capabilities, video proof, all that good stuff. Actual percentages available to back it up as well. But it is what it is. Magic has decent damage output capability for sure. But I watched a lot of people like run Labyrinth of Legends and Realm of Legends with well, not really Realm of Legends, more Labyrinth of like rank 4s. She's still quite lacking, man. Still quite lacking. Got all right damage though. Let's see. Do I think 200k will be enough for Medusa in the beginner bracket? I don't really know much about the beginner bracket cutoffs to give you kind of a decent perspective on that, my friend. Grind as much as you can. They always fluctuate quite a bit. Oh, right. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like we've hashed out the majority of points on this tier list. I'm going to have a little bit more of a look into Medusa, but again, just before this live stream kind of wraps up, if you do have a rank 4 awakened 5-star Medusa and want to record some gameplay, man, like my Twitter DMs and my Twitter and email inbox is definitely open for that. But yeah, guys, I appreciate kind of the conversation that we've had today, man. Like you've helped me definitely get a bit more of a solidified grasp on kind of my tier list and rankings. I've definitely got a few things to think about. Kind of moving away from this live stream, but yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you all for coming out today. We should be back maybe a little bit later with an Arena and Chill live stream and do some more Q&A stuff, and it will be a good time. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by today. Take care, and I'll see you all very soon on the channel.